Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom. This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, popped on the floor with the big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch all your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I have an egg inside of me. My name's Chris.
And this morning, we watched Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit. I still don't know what Moribito is or means.
I don't either. I don't know. I don't understand what that means. If it's a name of something... Maybe we would learn later on Moribito was the name of something the whole time, and we'll be like, whoa. Like, what if it's like a Citizen Kane type thing where at the end it was a sled.
A sled.
Oh, dang.
The whole time.
Whoa.
Moribito was the sled.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't the journey. It was the Moribitos we met along the way.
Yeah, exactly. This was suggested to us by MFMAD via Reddit. MFMAD. I always say MFMAD, but what if that's not how it's supposed to be? Like, what if it's not supposed to be initialed? Well, if it's MFMAD.
I'm pretty sure it's naughty words, but I will not say them on this kid-friendly show.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that. You're a genius. You're a dirty genius.
I just think he's that mad, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. You dirty, dirty genius, you.
So the show Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit aired in 2007. This is based on the Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit novel written by Nohoko Uehashi in 1996, written and directed by Kenji Kamiyama, produced by Production IG, licensed by Sentai Filmworks in North America and MVM Entertainment in the UK. This ran for one season, 26 episodes. In Japan, originally ran on the NHK BS2 network, which rolls right off the tongue.
That is so many things. Yeah.
In North America, Neon Alley, and then the U.S. specifically Adult Swim. For a short synopsis, the Second Empress hires a spear-wielding woman to save her son from the Mikado, Emperor, who believes the young prince is possessed by a water demon foretold to bring a terrible drought upon the land should he live.
That's, man, what a conundrum, you know? What a conundrum to live in. It's kind of like, it's sort of like Encanto, you know, when your family member just gets a real bad omen told about them, and then you have to try to get them killed, you know? Isn't that Encanto?
Yeah, but it's kind of like The Exorcist, where your daughter gets possessed by Pazuzu, and then you're like, well, what do we do? Do we kill her, or do we just kind of exorcise her? But I don't know. I guess exorcism is not an option in this case.
Yeah, it's unfortunate demons have the goofiest names and stuff, like Pazuzu. Like, to me, that sounds just like a little, I don't know, like some sort of off-brand name, like a company that makes kazoos specifically that you get at Dollar General's. Like, get a Pazuzu! Like, you know.
Pazuzu sounds like a tiny clown to me. Like a tiny clown boy.
Like a little miniature clown. But, like, do you mean... Like, I'm thinking, when you say that, I'm thinking of a clown that's, like, you know, maybe a half-foot tall, but, like, completely proportional and like is still sentient, like, you know, does his own thing and everything.
Well, I mean, we could go that far. I wasn't thinking anything in the cupboard size. I was thinking like 2 feet, 3 feet tall, maybe just a tiny clown, an adorable tiny clown who doesn't speak, but he honks his nose.
Oh, yeah.
That's Pazuzu.
Ooh, that'd be rough. That would still be terrifying somehow. Like, it went from kind of funny to, well, now we're back to scary territory. How did we do that? We came full circle.
What would make it really scary is if you're in a really echoey hallway in the darkness running from him and you just hear the squeaks and then you hear like a slow when he squeezes it real slow. It's like,
oh, man.
That's my nightmare now.
Yeah. What if he looked like, remember that I sent you recently, I sent you a clown sketch that I did when I was like 15 or 16. Because I was going through a bunch of old stuff because I was getting rid of things I don't need, because my wife's out of town, and when she's gone, I can get rid of stuff. And so I was going through things, and I found all these sketches I did when I was a kid, and I found this creepy clown sketch I did, which, like, man, I don't know what was wrong with me, but it's this creepy clown doing the, like, come here finger, and, like, what if that's what Pazuzu looked like, you know? But real small.
I'm still feeling miniature clown, personally.
Well, I mean, he's still a clown, but just take that picture and, like, maybe that's the size he is, because it's not a very big picture, you know?
Maybe. I have a specific image in my head, and I don't know. Now it's terrifying to me And I will always fear that. And if I'm walking down dark hallways,
Once this episode comes out, someone reminded me because I'll forget, and then I'll send the picture I drew when I was a teenager of My Little Pazuzu. Oh, what a great little My Little Pazuzu. Like, instead of my buddy. God, we went off on a weird tangent, didn't we?
Can we stop talking about clowns now? All right. No. Who are some of the actors who played in this show?
All right. So
it is not clown related.
Well, not yet. Balsa was voiced in Japan by Mabuki Ando, and then in America by Cindy Robinson, Prince Chagum by Naoto Adachi and Mona Marshall, Tanda voiced by Koji Tsujitani and Peter Doyle, Madame Torogai voiced by Akumayama and Barbara Goodson, Toya voiced by Mayumi Asano and Yuri Lowenthal. I feel like we just had Yuri Lowenthal in one of the last ones we just did.
I know we did. That name sounds super familiar. Goof Troop?
No. We just did Afro Samurai. He was in Afro Samurai.
Oh, Afro Samurai,
the bear ninja. Kuma.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Shuga was voiced by Hirofumi Nojima and Steve Staley. Zen, voiced by Kenichi Mochizuki, Michael Mikonohi. And then Jin, voiced by Masaya Matsukaze and Jason Miller. And we'll stop there, and I'm not going to go into all those peoples because that's just going to be a real long time. But they all did a good job. There you go. That's what we know. They did good.
Nice job, everyone.
Good. Here. Golf claps. There you go. Thanks.
And for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Moribito cereal.
No, say the whole thing. Say it all.
And for a few tasty marshmallows out of our big bowl of Moribito Guardian of the Spirit cereal.
There we go.
This is a Japanese novel that was first published in July 1996. It is the first in the 12-volume Moribito series of Japanese fantasy novels by Nohoko Uehashi. It was a recipient of the Batchelder Award for an ALA Notable Children's Book in 2009. It has since been adapted into numerous media, including radio, manga, anime, and taiga drama adaptations, which I think is just a live-action adaptation of it, because I saw that there was one that came out in 2016. And then the anime series adaptation premiered on Adult Swim in the U.S. on August 24, 2008, but was dropped from the schedule without warning or explanation on January 15, 2009, after 2 runs of the first 10 episodes. And the program then returned to Adult Swim during the summer of 2009 lineup with an airing of the entire series.
What? Wait, okay.
I don't know.
Hang on. So they ran episodes 1 through 10.
Twice.
They did it again. Like, Adult Swim was just like, oh yeah, people were really into this. Instead of letting them watch all of this, let's just run the first 10 episodes again. And then they were like, oh man, people are upset now that we did that. Let's just cancel it. And then later they were like, oh dang, they wanted to see all of it. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, in like a 4.5 month period, 10 episodes were shown twice and then cut off until the following year, or until later that year.
That makes no sense.
Yeah.
You know, to be fair, I feel like they did that with Cowboy Bebop a lot too on Adult Swim, because I feel like those episodes were always out of order, like constantly. So, I mean, I love Adult Swim for introducing me to a lot of good shows and a lot of anime, you know, the Toonami/Adult Swim. But y'all didn't get your ducks in a row over there, did you? You were just throwing whatever at the wall and just like, I don't know, show number 8, then number 2, and then, I don't know, show episode 7 through 24, and then do it a second time, and then, I don't know, maybe we'll show the end next year.
But you'll never see episode 6 in there anywhere for whatever reason until later when you're like, oh, I never knew about this episode. Yeah. All those years ago, it was never shown. I still want to someday watch the Porygon episode of Pokemon, and I'll just shield my eyes when the seizure part comes.
Well, I think, it's gone now. Like, they redid it. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you could find a copy of it somewhere, but I mean, the internet exists. It's out there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Everything's out there somewhere, except for Mary-Kate and Ashley in action.
Well, no, it's out there again now because somebody has now republished it all.
Did somebody find it?
Yeah, just a few months back.
Oh.
Someone in our Discord let me know. Yeah.
They dug it up from the same pit that the E.T. games were buried in.
Somebody dug it out of the pit. Someone opened that sarcophagus, dusted it off, uploaded it on YouTube, the entire series. So, yeah.
Gross.
Do you ever, like, wonder, though, because, like, you know, I don't have epilepsy. I've never had a seizure. But, like, I'm always wondering if I watch that Porygon episode, is this going to be the one? Like, is this going to be the way I find out that I can have a seizure? You know, does that ever cross your mind?
You know, I've had a seizure before after my accident, like when I was still in the hospital, not an epileptic one, but so whenever like flashing lights come on the TV, I'm always wary. Like I've never had an epileptic seizure, but I'm always worried that this is going to be the trigger that takes me out.
Like when we were playing Donkey Kong Country on Twitch and that bird holding the light, that I was getting a little scared. I was getting scared because like it was doing something to me. Like my eyes were really starting to hurt. I started feeling really nauseous. I was like, uh-oh, this is the one. This is where it happens. And everyone's going to see it happen live. But I made it through. So
we both survived. But the main takeaway from the marshmallows here is that this was only the first of 12 volumes, which is interesting to me. That honestly, this series could continue further. Although, since it got cut off at 2007, I don't think the anime is going to, but maybe the live action one did better. I'm not sure.
That'd be interesting.
So let's go and jump into the episodes we watched for today's show, starting with the very first one, Balsa, the female bodyguard. Season 1, episode 1, where Balsa, a short spear warrior, takes jobs as a bodyguard. On her way into the city to repair her spear, she rescues a member of the royal family and finds herself meeting the mother of the boy she saved.
Wait, what's supposed to be short? Because neither her nor her spear are very short.
It's a short dash spear, so it's saying she's a short spear warrior, but I don't know, like, do spears get longer than that? It seems like a pretty long spear. Yeah,
it's like as long as she is. How long does the spear have to be to just be called a spear? That's odd.
And Lava Jesus forbid that we find out what a large spear is.
Yeah, what is a long spear like? That is like a football field in length.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this was so I had no idea what this was going to be like. I'm just like, okay, anime. Is this going to be serious anime? Is this going to be funny anime? And it was like, I guess more in the serious realm. Like there wasn't really funny bits to it, but it was like it was probably one of the more subtle action kind of animes ever. Like there was a lot of tension in this thing. Like, I feel like more tension than action, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, there's some action, but like, especially when we talk about a few specific scenes in this episode and the next episode, like, it's a lot more tense because of the situations and what's being said in the dialogue and everything. And that was interesting because that was not what I expected to see. So I was kind of like expecting one of two things and neither happened, and I was like, oh, but this is still very interesting.
When you put out all the pieces here where it's like a spear-wielding bodyguard lady and then this prince who is possessed by this water spirit and has like, at least what we see, like mild supernatural powers, it seems like there would have been a lot more action, or it would have been, because it is still labeled as an action anime. But to your point, it is so subtle. Like, this is one of the most serene animes that I've seen in a long time for something that has a setup like that.
I gotta say, the animation's gorgeous. It feels very, very Studio Ghibli inspired, especially because the backgrounds are so intricately done. And the character designs are they're very simple, like simple features and stuff, but I mean everyone stands out. Like everyone has very distinct features and everything, but everything just feels really soft, like soft features, soft color palettes to everything, and it's just beautiful to look at. I mean, the best way I can think of is it looks like a Studio Ghibli film, but as an anime series.
And everyone seems very calm.
Right?
Even though some of the situations are tense, everyone's like, all right, let's consider this. Let's think about this. Let's sit back for a second and figure this out. I didn't see, at least in the episodes we watched, anybody bursting out in anger or fear or anything like that. With the exception of maybe
the prince.
In the last episode, the prince, yeah.
He bursts out in anger every once in a while because he's kind of spoiled. He's a spoiled little...
That's true. Okay, so to describe this episode real quick, to walk through some of the plot, Balsa, the female bodyguard we were talking about earlier, she has come back to Yogo Village after 2 years. Right now, she's just looking to get her spear, her short spear, apparently fixed or repaired because it's just like seen better days. It's wearing down. And I liked this line that stuck out to me almost right away, where she is walking to the village and she comes across someone who's like, well, you can get it fixed if you got the money for it.
She also at one point said that she's not that young anymore because 30 is just around the corner. And I'm like, man, I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, that made me feel terrible.
I was like, oh, dang. Ouch. But yeah, but I totally get it. My wife, who just turned 30, was talking the other day about how like everything hurts now. And I'm like, I know. Yeah, that's how it works.
Yep. Welcome to 30.
So as she's entering this village, there's like a procession going on, and she overhears that it's someone from the royal family. But the ox that is carrying or pulling the carriage starts just freaking out. Not sure why. They're going across this bridge. It freaks out. It tips the carriage, which goes over the side of the bridge. Like it's wooden. It's brittle. It breaks. Prince falls out into the water, followed by carriage, followed by ox. And Balsa is just kind of looking around like, oh, dang. Her short spear, which I feel bad. I feel like we're talking crap about her spear because her spear is cool. Her short spear has like a rope that's like attached to it. And I like this, like how just ingenuity-ish. I don't know what this word would be. This thing is, she ties the rope around her, throws a spear across this river to a tree, like embeds it in the tree, and then jumps into the water after him. I'm like, oh, dang, like how smart. What was interesting, though, is when she jumps in, grabs hold of the prince, and is trying to swim to get him out, like this huge wave, I think caused by maybe the ox finally falling in or whatever, goes to overtake them. They get like surrounded in like almost like a protective bubble for just a few seconds as the huge wave goes over before it releases and she can pull him to safety. And like, I like that it does not tell us what that was about, because we are just as confused as she is, because she has no idea what that was. And she's just not about to start asking people questions because of her station. She's just this, this outlander that arrived to this town. This is a prince. You can't even, in this society, you're not even supposed to look them in the eyes without maybe losing your life.
No. You're not supposed to look them in the eyes because it's said that you will go blind.
Yeah, well, that's not going to be
look
fun.
them in the eyes.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun either.
The royal family, if a commoner does.
It's just like, there's just a lot going on to this thing. And so she's just like, yeah, I'm not going to be asking questions. She just, gets him out. She wants to go on her way. She goes to like a tavern and stuff. And these people start looking for her because they're like, oh, some big warrior dude saved him. Do you know anything about this? He had a spear and you have a spear. She's just like, nope. So then they're like, okay, you don't know anything. We should probably just kill you now. It seemed like a leap.
Yeah, basically like getting rid of witnesses. Yeah, like you've already heard this story what we've heard, and no one has the right to know, I guess, that's a commoner, so we're just going to have to kill you now. In doing so, that's where we get to see the small amount of action that we got to see here in this episode, which was her like wielding the spear and able to take on, she probably could have taken on all four of these men, but she only had to take out two of them. And then the others were like, okay, like, fine, like you're the person.
They're like,
it was a test. Cool, that's all. It was a test. So trust us. We're emissaries for the royal family. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting too is when we say, she took them out, she does not kill them. She just kind of, incapacitates them so that they stop fighting her.
The tip of her spear is still covered by the cloth, the protective cloth. So she's not fighting to kill. She's just incapacitating.
Yeah. And that's like super important to her story, that she isn't killing people. Man, there's a lot of complexities to this thing, like with everybody's stories and stuff like that, and it's just really interesting. She gets taken to the palace where she gets like the fancy treatment, and I'm like, dang man, I'm jealous because that place looks great. And then in the middle of the night, the second queen or second empress, whatever you want to call her, and the prince show up to thank her in the middle of the night, and then kind of give her the exposition of like what's going on, and is just kind of saying, the queen's almost like pleading with her without pleading, just kind of, I guess, more so informing her of this situation because like, hey, I'm about to force you into a situation here, based on this situation. The prince has had all these assassination attempts made against him, and what you rescued him from was another one. And it was kind of like, what we talked about earlier as the premise for the show. This guy called a star reader?
Yeah.
Said that he was possessed by this spirit, and his the emperor, the Mikado emperor, ain't cool with it. And he's just like, hey, I'm gonna send my dudes. We gotta make sure this kid's dead. So yeah.
Even though that's his father, and so the queen is in trying to protect him, basically voluntells Balsa. It's like, okay, listen, please, like, just watch him as a bodyguard, watch him with your life, and
get him out of here.
Get him out of here. We'll give you all these riches. And she's like, well, first of all, thanks for forcing me into a situation that I can't really say no to.
Thanks, jerk.
She's like, yeah, you're right, because I'll kill you. I have to kill you if you say no.
Exactly.
It's like, well, that sucks. Why do I keep putting myself in situations where it's either do it or die? And so she ends up, like, obviously having to agree to it, but it kind of works out with her personal character story as well, because we find out that she is in a situation where she had to take out 8 people that she cared about in the past for unknown reasons. And what she's trying to do to make amends is to be a bodyguard for 8 other individuals whose lives equal those that were lost. And the prince is going to be her 8th. So this will be kind of resolving her personal dilemma.
And I think it's really interesting too, just like the amount of thought that got put into her responses and everything here, of, just the fact that I can't say no to this, because if I do, then I know too much and you're going to kill me. So you really put me in a position where I have to say yes. So the fact that you're thanking me and everything is pointless. Like, why are you thanking me and asking me to do this when really I don't have a choice?
Yeah, and plus I can't take this money either that you've given me, because this has like royal markings all over it, so they'll suspect us right away and hunt me down. So here, let me just take what I can and go.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you think about like somebody of like, let's say her station, who wears, not quite rags, but she's not wearing shiny clothes. She's not a noble person. And if she shows up somewhere paying for something with like jewels and like stuff with, the court emblazoned on it, like they're gonna suspect her, if not of what's actually happening, but of being a thief right away anyway. So it's like she'd be doomed if she took anything. So like, yeah, the queen really screwed her over.
Yeah. So she's in like she's in a situation she can't really talk herself out of or get out of, unless she were to really kill the queen, the prince, and all 7 men who were in the room, which she probably could have. But again, this works out in her favor, just based on what her personal goals are. So she decides to do it, tells them to light the prince's room on fire and help her escape. And that's where the episode wraps up. Which moves us on to the second episode we watched for today's show, which was The Swordsmith, season 1, episode 8. And this was the highest rated. Balsa and Chagung visit a great swordsmith to get a new blade for Balsa's spear. The swordsmith agrees to forge her a new blade once he is convinced that she did not kill the prince. So this is good because it connects us, even though it's 8th episode, it connects us to the first one where her mission was, I just want to get my spear fixed. And this is the episode where she finally is able to start doing so, or at least is on the path to do so.
It's really interesting to me that this is the highest rated episode, because this episode is, the majority of it is just exposition between this blacksmith, this swordsmith, and Balsa, or also the swordsmith and these 2 warriors. Like the majority of the episode is just dialogue, but it's so interesting.
This is my favorite episode out of the ones we watched, honestly, so I get it.
Right? Isn't that strange?
It's just like what you're getting here, the perspective that you go into the show with. This episode is one of the highlights of it, because again, it's not an action-heavy show, so you're not looking for the episode where it's like, oh, it has the best battle or whatever. It's like, no, the best interactions, at least from what I had seen, were in this episode. Character development and giving us some backstory. And plus the tension was there too. That was really exciting to see. So it had a little bit of everything for such a condensed, like tiny episode, or at least the space that was used was very condensed.
Yeah, she goes to this guy who she has seen in the past and wants, her spear fixed, as we talked about. He shared his concerns that, he's heard some pretty nasty things about her. Some rumors that Balsa has become a criminal, that she burned down the palace, that she killed the prince. I feel like his suspicions were raised pretty quickly because Chagum, immediately is just like, insolent, and, starts yelling. And she has to shush him. I'm like, wow, he showed his hand real quick. But he's still unsure and he's suspicious. And this dude is a guy of honor. And he's just kind of like, that I create the weapons for the court. If you have done the things that you're accused of, I have to turn you in. And she's of the mindset of, well, I'm going to sit here until you fix my spear. And so they're kind of at a stalemate because he doesn't want to turn her in. He just feels like he has to because it's a matter of honor. But he has other people coming in, so he makes her and Chagum go to this back room, but then kind of traps him in there by shoving this wooden rod against the door, under the handle and everything, so that they can't get out. And the people that come in are two warriors that I would assume are Mikado warriors, especially based on the next episode that we watch, and the people they associate with. So they come in and he starts kind of just, talking with them and everything. And oh man, there's this one part that it was so tense because real early, we're not that far in and we know that they're in that back room and they come in to pick up their new swords. And he's just like, oh yeah, those new swords are in this back room. So they start walking back there. And Balsa picks up the sword and she's washing through the eye hall, just ready to do it, to kill these dudes. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, she's holding it up against the door, ready to strike. And then the tension is great because it cuts it off right here where he's like, but before you do that. And then that's where the episode really kind of starts because he's asking them what to them makes Yogoan swords, which is Yogo is the city they're still in. Yogoan swords, what makes them unique? And one of them says they're flexible enough to prevent it from breaking, but also hold an incredibly sharp edge. One of them says it's the being refined over 1,000 years, the shape, the curve, the heft. And then in the blacksmith says, in other countries, weapons are nothing but tools of war. And in Yogo, the tradition of warriors and blacksmiths working together goes back a long time, where trust is a key element. And his dream is to create the ultimate sword. But the ultimate sword for him would not be the ones he's creating now, which are, I guess, fill people with the urge to use it on others, which makes them evil. So his ultimate weapon would be one that kills no one, and in doing so, frees these people of their fate. So the irony of him making weapons that are being used to hurt others is something that he doesn't want to be associated with and wants to make one for someone who wouldn't use it for that sake.
Right, exactly. That leads into them having a deeper conversation where he tells a story that we kind of come to figure out is basically homage to Balsa's story, but he has changed the gender of the character he's telling the story about to being a man. And makes it sound like this story took place, years ago.
24 years ago.
Yeah. So he's kind of talking about sort of like Balsa's journey, but talking about, being betrayed by their closest friends and having to kill 8 of their closest friends who were hunting this warrior down and all these things. And that they also ended up with a child in their care that was of royal descent, that they didn't necessarily want to have them in their care, but out of necessity they were forced to take care of this child and everything that was not theirs. It was just really interesting because we were getting even though it wasn't the perfect tale, it wasn't the perfect backstory giving us everything about Balsa, it's enough that we get an idea of what Balsa's been through this tale he's telling, that obviously has some changes and embellishments and everything, which was really, really cool.
And then we get the warriors who are there kind of telling a similar story and then showing compassion towards the warrior, and then, kind of just walking out in agreement. The blacksmith goes and gets the swords himself, doesn't give Balsa and Chagum up, and they leave satisfied. But before they go, we get another moment of tension where one of the warriors notices her spear wrapped up like to the side. And he's just like, why would you work on the weapon of like a common soldier or whatever? Because that's, I guess, who uses spears. And he's like, if it pleases me, I'll work on anything, even spears. And that's where it kind of backs off of the tension, because the guy's just like, you know what? That doesn't surprise me. Basically, I can tell what kind of, I get a good sense about your character. So
yeah,
we're just going to go. And so that, it's a lot of like leading up to these really tense moments, and then just backing off very calmly. And that at that point,
the blacksmith,
you're sweating a little bit. But at that point, the blacksmith says like, you know what? Or he tells Balsa that I'm satisfied. I've heard both sides of the story, and I'll have your spear in 7 days, your new spear.
Yeah.
And that's where we kind of wrap up.
The reason that he kind of goes to believe Balsa's story is because the one of those warriors was lamenting the idea that, hey, your tale's really similar to something that did just happen with this woman who wields a spear, who had the prince or whatever, and basically was they told the truth basically of what happened. They did not tell the rumors that are going around. They basically said, yeah, she was running off with the prince, blah blah blah, but she's dead now. She died a few days ago. So obviously from context clues, something had happened in a previous episode to lead everyone to think that her and the prince were both killed. But these warriors were just kind of lamenting that idea of like, you know what? We were supposed to kind of hunt her down, but she didn't really do anything wrong. She actually was pretty honorable, and that's just too bad. It sucks. So yeah, that was really the thing that convinced him that, okay, I've heard, enough. I believe you now. And he's like, yeah, in 7 days, I'll have a new spear for you, because it couldn't be fixed. He had to make a new one. And then she gets one, and it looks very pretty. It's really shiny.
Yeah, it was a great episode, which leads us to the last episode, The Ancient Village, season 1, episode 18, which was a Patreon pick by Semantic. So thank you.
Thanks, bud.
In this one, Chagum, Balsa, Tanda, and Torogai travel to Tomi Village in the hope of learning the ancient story of the water spirit. So we get a lot more in this episode, kind of teaching us about what's going on with the egg that's inside of Chagum, what he's possessed by. So we also get to see the star reader, the white-haired dude who the Empress, the mother, swears is like an honorable man. But you can tell like right away, this guy's not as honorable as he seems. He just doesn't look, he looks like a villain. And like, this is like, he is with those other two gentlemen from the episode we had just watched, the warriors, and then some others hunting down Chagum and Balsa to, I guess, well, not, I don't know if their intention is to kill them or just to like capture them. I mean, ultimately, they're going to kill them, but the star reader specifically says not to kill them if on sight, like to wait until he gets there because he has questions for them.
And this was interesting too, because like really, really early on, we see Chagum talking about how he's worried because I guess he's heard rumor that his brother, which you and I wouldn't have known yet that he had a brother. So I guess I'm assuming the emperor's child with another empress. I'm assuming, I'm not sure, unless it is with the same empress and we just never met him. But his brother Sagum is rumored to be dead. So he wants to go back to the palace, and Balsa's just like, no, there's no way we are going back there. It's not going to happen. But his brother, I just want to say real quick, Sagum, voiced by Johnny Young Bosch, just in case you want to know. I love him. But yeah, so he's real bent out of shape out of that. And what we learn later is because they're kind of venturing into these cliffs and everything, like through past this kind of sort of dead looking village. through these paths uphill through the cliffs, and Chagum's really having a hard time getting through everything because, he's kind of a spoiled prince kind of archetype, and it's tough for him. He's not used to all of this hardship and physicalness and everything.
And Tonda offers to carry him, but Balsa's like, no, he can do it. And so she's kind of making him do his own thing, not follow that like spoiled background that he comes from.
Exactly. But what I liked here was this interesting conversation between Balsa and Tonda once he was sleeping, and then Torogai went off to find out the correct path, because she basically said, oh, we're lost, even though Balsa knew that they weren't, but she did it just so the kid could have a little bit of rest. So I was like, oh, cute.
Yeah, and so he could, to save face, basically not hurt his pride by calling out that they need to rest. So
while he is resting, Tonda and Balsa have this conversation where we learn a couple of really interesting things. One is, so, we've mentioned before, he's got like the egg inside him. This egg is the egg of like this water spirit of something. We don't know too much about it. I'm saying you and me because lack of episodes that we've seen. But we learn of something that Balsa mentions about an egg eater. So we're like, okay, so there's something out there, something bad that, aside from the Mikado that would be hunting him down, possibly, that wants to maybe, kill or steal or eat whatever's inside of him, whatever's growing inside of him. We also learned that his brother is dead, in fact. They're trying to figure out when it would be the best time to tell him. So they're keeping that secret from him right now. And I'm like, oh man, that is totally going to blow up in their faces at some point. Just knowing how stories usually go, there's no way that's going to go over well.
Yeah, especially not with somebody who's possessed by a spirit that has supernatural elements to it. Like, is this when like he's going to have some explosion of power or something? Yeah, who knows? But
he's going to go into the Avatar state.
Yeah, so they get over to Tomi Village, where like we're seeing also like the Star Reader and the small crew that he's with still hunting them down. And they're like, they know that they've kind of determined that they're going to Tomi Village just based on their supplies being cut off and them having to go to the nearest village, et cetera, et cetera. For various reasons, they now know which way they're going and are on the hunt. So when they finally get there, we find out from, like, they meet this girl along the way who is the granddaughter of, it seems like, the village leader.
Yeah, like an elder or something.
And he tells them, like, we don't have any more story readers, or I don't remember what term they used for it, but basically like storytellers in the village anymore, because like her grandmother was it his grandmother or his mother? I can't remember I don't remember their relation, but yeah, she recently passed away, and she was the last one because he doesn't want to put children through the whole process of becoming a village storyteller anymore, because that's like thousands of stories they have to memorize like all day and kind of re-recite, and it's very taxing. And so he kind of retired it. The what's her name? Gosh, I keep forgetting her name. Torogai. She's like shaming him for basically getting rid of like historical like stories of the village and everything. But luckily, we found out that his granddaughter had been listening to the stories that were being told by the previous storyteller, the one who passed away. And so she's able to kind of recite what she knows, at least in relation to this water spirit.
I think, she referred to it as Nyanga Rochaga?
Yeah, Nyanga Rochaga is the egg carrier.
Okay, so that would be the prince.
Nyanga Roim is the spirit.
Okay, so Roim is the spirit, and Rochaga would be Chagum.
The spirit guardian, I guess. The guardian of the spirit, like the title.
So it from the way they said it, it sounds like once every 100 years, the egg is laid. And the village's job was to protect the guardian of the spirit. And sort of the way that they were talking, it kind of sounded like at this point, maybe they don't quite really believe in it anymore. And that's also maybe sort of why they were okay with letting some of that history go, some of the storytelling and stuff like that. Because it almost sounds like like kind of like an old wives' tale sort of thing to them at this point, because they are just telling it like it's a story, like it's a myth, like a legend, like how we would tell stories of if we were to talk about Zeus or Odysseus or something like that,
Well, yeah, it's very much like that with the elements of, Nayunga Roim being the spirit who lives deep underwater and uses a life force to become clouds, and that's how they get rain. So it's very much like it seems like a simplified explanation of the natural elements. The reason they want this egg to be hatched or this new Rochaga to be protected is because they want their rains to come back. They don't want to go into a drought period.
Right, exactly. So they're just kind of telling the story like, really nonchalantly, discussing it and everything. And then they're just kind of like, well, why are you so interested in it? And they also mention that there is like this other thing that wants to eat the egg. And they spoke of another guardian that was a young boy that was like ripped open, like ripped in half to destroy the egg and stuff.
Yeah, by claws that couldn't be seen by others, essentially.
Yeah.
So this is the Rarunga, which is like the egg-eating snake, basically, also taking the form of another human. And that is we don't know exactly like who that person is going to be. My assumption would be either the Emperor or, more specifically, the Star Reader seems a pretty good candidate to me.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be Shuga, possibly, the white-haired guy.
Yeah, the Star Reader, yep.
No, not the Star Reader, the younger guy with the white hair.
Yeah, that's the Star Reader.
The Star Reader's the older guy that was with them. He's old and he's got like the beard.
No, the Star Reader's the guy with the long white hair.
Oh, I thought the Star Reader was the old guy.
No, I think that's just one of the generals or something. Let me see.
No, they're listed as separate people on IMDb.
First episode, she was talking about Shuga as a Star Reader who was predicting like what's going, like telling her what's going on with their son. So that's why
there's Star Reader and then there's Shuga.
Let me see who Shuga is then. Maybe he's a Star Reader. And we're getting caught up in the weeds here, but I'm very curious now because I had gone this whole time.
Oh, the other guy is the Master Star Reader. Oh. So it might be someone that Shuga reports to.
That's right, because that's part of the story we heard in the first one where Shuga, the Star Reader, goes and talks to the Master Star Reader about it, and that's how it gets to the Emperor that his son has that egg inside of him. So, okay, that clears it up.
That's right. That makes more sense. Woo! So yeah, we agree then. Yeah, it might be Shuga.
Yeah, same person.
Same person.
Yes.
But yeah, it all caused, like, here in the story, Chagum, like, basically has a panic attack and then passes out. And they're like, what's wrong with him? And they're like, yeah, he's the guardian. And then, like, the village people are like, YMCA. No, not those village people. The people of this village, like, were like, what? And then the episode just kind of ends. So, yeah.
Because it's like you're seeing Chagum like responding to this story. Like they don't know at the time that he is this egg carrier, but he's just listening and you're seeing his eyes widen and he's like getting worried because they're like, yeah, he has to go off on a journey by himself for the rest of his life and like into solitude. And he's like, oh, that doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, he might get ripped in half by an unseen snake.
And yeah, that part, that's when he snaps. He's like, oh my God, is that going to happen to me? And then he just passes out.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that was weird.
That was the one like semi-funny moment in the show.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where it wrapped up for us.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Yogo Village to serve as additional bodyguards to the prince, and maybe see if they can go back to the palace and get the riches that Balsa left behind. Then find out what they thought of Moribito, Guardian of the Spirit.
This cartoon looked so cool, but it had so much talking. There's so many swords and spears, but no stabby stab? I'm gonna make sure my bodyguard mommy pokes way more holes than my enemies.
Balsa is the coolest! And this show got me thinking that maybe my mom makes me eat eggs every morning so that I can eventually become the next Noyunga Rochaga, which will then lead to me getting my own bodyguard to protect me from the bullies who pick on me at school. That also could be why she stores that giant spear in the closet. Either way, thanks, Mom.
Hopefully she just keeps the invisible snakes away.
That's all I ask. Yeah. So far, so good. I'm still alive.
Invisible snakes sound terrifying. I hate that idea. Invisible snakes. That's the worst.
I mean, they said invisible claws, so I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like just like what the form of this thing is.
I mean, they did refer to a serpent, but it's like, but serpents with claws? So I guess it's a lizard. It's an invisible lizard. It's a chameleon is what it is.
Or it's like one of those like, I don't know what the race is, but those like snake, those anthropomorphic like snake people from, I know they're in He-Man. They're probably even in, are they Naga? Is that what it is?
Naga? Yeah, sort of. Yeah. They're in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that and D&D, I think they have some form too. Either way, I keep getting distracted, but
Yanti.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Could be.
So yeah, I'm thinking maybe that.
That'd be cool if one of those showed up. But what are some of the things that you liked about this show?
So the animation, like you were talking about earlier, is top notch, like just about on par with an anime movie, which is a very nice surprise for a series.
Yes. Oh man, it was beautiful. Like just I wasn't sure, like from the opening, song or whatever, I was kind of like, eh. But man, some of those first scenes you see, especially of her approaching the village and just seeing all the scenery in the background, I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, where's this been?
That, along with the really peaceful soundtrack that it had going on, I don't know that there were ever moments where it like really got exciting because there wasn't a lot of like chasing or anything going on. Everything was like very slow paced. But it was such a peaceful soundtrack. I really enjoyed that as well.
I didn't even think about the music. Like, I guess it just kind of washed over me because I felt like I think everything fit together really well so that like all of the elements were there and just fit like perfect pieces of a puzzle. Yeah, I was just so engrossed into it when we were watching. Just the sounds, the dialogue, the look and feel of everything. Like they really nailed an aesthetic here that I feel like few very, very much like few out there accomplish.
Yeah.
That took me a minute to figure out what I was going to say.
And there were a lot of very still, somber moments, especially for an anime still labeled as action, which is miles apart from the over-the-top, fast-moving slugfest that I'm used to watching when it comes to anime. So this was kind of like drinking a nice hot cup of chamomile tea when you're used to loading up on espresso shots and Red Bull. Like it's that kind of like comparison.
That is a super good like analogy. Like I kept thinking like this is like a an anime where you could take any like scene of it and just put like a little like the little lo-fi girl music to it.
Yes.
And it would fit. It would fit perfectly.
Totally. And the last thing on that is the Swordsmith episode was definitely a standout to me, even though it was basically all contained only in his workshop and relied solely on dialogue. I think that's just the beauty of the quality character building and tension done right in this show.
I agree with that too. I think that the character development for one is fantastic. And what's interesting too is like we've only gotten bits and pieces of some of the characters, but you can tell it's just the tip of the iceberg with some of them. Whereas the ones that we have gotten to spend more time with, like Balsa, and we've gotten to learn a little bit more about them. Even like knowing more, like I'm still really intrigued to spend more time with that character and understand more about them and their state of mind. Because they're very, the stories are so intricate and so finely balanced along with all of the politics of this world and the complications each of these characters face because of like the states that they're in with, the prince being like the egg bearer thing and his own dad wanting to kill him. Balsa having to protect him, but can't kill anybody because of this, oath that she's kind of sworn to herself that she's kind of making penance because of what she's done in her past. And it's just, I don't know. It's just so many things, just very intricately woven, like a little pretty basket, like a little straw basket.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Was there anything you didn't like about the show?
Yes, there was one thing very specifically I did not like, but
Uh-oh.
it's very specific. But first, I want to ask you, did you watch the sub or the dub?
I watched the dub.
Okay, so you will know this. Whenever someone is not in focus, there's a really bad echo effect on their voice, like they're speaking into a metal bowl, and it sucks. Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, in the last episode especially, and I wonder if it was just the resolution or the quality that the version we were watching was, because I was thinking that a lot in the last episode.
I don't think so, because I noticed it was in all 3 episodes, and it was only on the dialogue when somebody was not the main point of focus, like on the screen. So I think it was an effect that the audio engineer was using to try and establish like distance between, you know, the character and like this person being like somewhere else, let's say in the room or something like that. So like trying to add a little bit more like resonance or something. But instead of like reverb, they used like echo, and it was a very metallic sounding echo. And they use the same effect no matter like what place they're in. So if they're in a cave, if they're in a house, even if they're out like outside, open doors, there shouldn't be reverb. You still got this metallic reverb on their voice, and it was garbage. I was like, oh, gross. Like, why? Why do they all sound like Al from Full Metal Alchemist whenever they're not on screen? Like, this doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice it that much. Not to the point that it bothered me. It was just more of a distraction every once in a while. Like, oh, that's kind of weird. But I'm engrossed in this. It doesn't bother me to the point where I would even have mentioned it, honestly.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like in the sub, I'm assuming, and I don't know this because I don't know if it exists. I don't know if they did that in the sub, but in the dub, I'm like, oh man, it was just a really odd choice, and it was not a good one. And it doesn't change the story. It doesn't ruin anything. It doesn't detract from anything. It was just annoying, and one of those things that's just like, in a series where everything else was extremely polished, it was weird that this one thing stuck out like a sore thumb. But yeah, that was really the only thing I think that I had any issue with.
This one, I felt like it was going to be a little too slow for me at first, but once I better understood the story, I got really invested into it. So much so that I restrained from spoiling any of the major plot points that weren't covered in the episodes we watched, which is kind of rare for me because usually I try to at least partially fill in the gaps for myself by reading into the plots of some of the in-between episodes before we start recording. But I decided with this one that I'd rather actually experience it from start to finish and not know how all these things are connected. So long story short, my one dislike based on the slower pacing actually did a 180 and became a huge compliment to the story itself being that intriguing.
Yeah, I can completely agree with that because at first in the first episode, I felt like after a while it was moving kind of slow. But later on, I started to appreciate that for sure.
Mm-hmm. So what would you give this show?
Well, to be honest, I really enjoyed this anime. Like I said, the pacing did feel a little slow at first, but it ended up being really welcome as opposed to some of the other shows that we've been watching. It takes its time to tell the story and really flesh out the world. And it lets you just take in all the beautiful animation and background and everything like that. Like it gives you breathing room to just take it all in and live in the world as all the events unfold. It's definitely one that I want to watch the rest of. Like you said, you know, I don't want to spoil it for myself. I really wanted to get in, watch it from beginning to end, and I do plan on doing it. So I gave Moribito 4.5 bowls of egg inside of you cereal out of 5.
After watching this show, it honestly made me look inward a little bit at my own life, which I have a habit of loading full of activities, whether productive or not, that cause me to burn out very quickly. So often we try to move at such a fast pace to feel like we're not wasting time, or at least me personally, that I rarely stop to smell the roses along the way. And for today, at least, this show was my rose because I appreciated the calmness of it so much compared to what we usually watch, or more specifically, what I usually watch and or play, which is always fast paced and like heavy into combat and whatever. And I appreciate that still, but I rarely give time to things like this. And so I'm glad I did. All that said, I'd give Moribito Guardian of the Spirit 5 big bowls of Eternal Water Spirit Egg cereal out of 5, and obviously think it's definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, it really is. I am really excited to honestly just sit down and just watch it. And one of those things too, where it's like, it's a good one for just relaxing and watching. Like it's one that I just want to put my feet up, lay back, watch it, maybe even take, the laptop outside, watch it in the hammock or something like that. Like, it's just so chill. Just such a chill thing to do.
It is. It's a nice palate cleanser for fast-paced action animes that I've been watching, at least.
Now watch this. This is going to be really funny. Watch, we're going to get all these comments later on. They're like, oh my God, what are you talking about? Like, every other episode that you didn't watch is just action-packed. Like, just high octane.
High octane, so gory.
So much blood and gore.
Yeah. It's like, man.
Like, it makes Afro Samurai look rated G. Yeah. I'm waiting to get those responses, but whatever. We also have a nice 5-star review here on Apple by Amazing Anime Lord, which seems like very appropriate to read for this episode that we just did. So that's great. They say, love it. I adore this podcast. The opinions are so fresh and great. Wow, the word fresh has popped up a whole lot in the last few minutes here. If I were to recommend a show, it would be Lego Monkey Kid. Despite being a Lego show, I found it very surprising. Anyway, I love the podcast and keep up the great content. Thank you very much. I'm humbled to be, standing before the Amazing Anime Lord. Thank you so much.
Yes. And especially being deemed fresh by the Anime Lord himself.
Yeah. Ah, man, I can't wait to tell people that we're fresh.
Yeah, since this show told us that 30 is very old.
Yeah. Oh, dang. But we're fresh now. That makes me feel so much better about my life.
I feel rejuvenated.
Yeah, I have never heard of that. I've never heard of that show.
Me neither. Monkey Kid?
Yeah. But once we open up the list again, we can add that to it. But as we've said before, right now it's closed off right now. We're not taking new submissions at the moment, just so we can try to at least catch up a little bit. I think we've got a couple hundred to go before that happens. But we're working on it, with the help of our amazing editor Jack, who with his help we can now do this weekly again. So big thank you to Jack, who is going to have a real fun time editing this episode, because we had a real hard time getting through some of the names earlier.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
And also thank you to MFMAD for suggesting this. It had never even crossed my radar, so I know that I wouldn't have watched it had this not been suggested, and now I'm very glad I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Never heard of this in the slightest. I'm really glad it is now something that exists in front of my face, so that I can keep it in my face and watch more of it. And now, like, with all the egg talk, like, I feel like I need to just keep eating eggs. I'm going to eat eggs while I watch this thing, even though it seems weird. Eggs and water. That's what it is. I'm going to drink water and eat eggs.
Let me tell you something that was really surprising and then sad to me.
Okay.
This came out in 2007, which was 15 years ago. Like, to me, when I think the 2000s, I'm still thinking like, oh, it's not that long ago. 15 years. That is almost half of our life ago.
Stop it. We're fresh now. Stop.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, we're fresh.
I heard I'm fresh, and you can't change that. You can't take this away from me.
Okay, we got to stay fresh.
Stay fresh. Speaking of fresh.
Well, listeners, it looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And next week, we'll be watching
Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, so that we can stay fresh. We're talking about the new one, folks.
the new one.
The brand new movie.
I've already seen this, and I'm very excited. Have you seen it yet or no?
No. I'm going to come in so fresh.
I'm so excited for you to watch it, and there's going to be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I can't wait, because I've seen a few clips here and there, and every clip I've seen has me so excited to finally sit down and watch this thing, because it looks great. Just the commentary I've seen on a few specific things had me cracking up. So I'm like, oh my God, it's like they made this movie for the hosts of this podcast. I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's for those old 30-year-olds.
Yeah, it's for those fresh 30...
fresh, new 30-year-olds.
30-somethings. Yeah, those fresh, almost 40-year-old men. Yeah.
Oh, well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
We'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.